Good afternoon, Draftarig. Today, February 4th, we have Daizook of Gohs in Victory League joining us today. How are you doing, Daizook?
I'm doing excellent, thanks to you. How are you doing today, TJ?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. I can just tell how excited you are based on the number of laughs you've been having per minute, you know? That's what...
That's because I'm reading the chat. I'm seeing the gifs. Okay, yeah, go on.
So this past week, the first match for the Gohs you were up against Pix, who is known as one of the most unpredictable, unhinged players in the server. So how did you feel knowing that, week one, this is who you're going to face?
It gave me flashbacks to when I would play against Pi, because Pi is also the most unhinged player to play against. So I was used to playing against unhinged players, When I took a look at his team, his roster was actually quite scary, despite the power rankings. I think in the power rankings he placed last, but I think his team matched up extremely well against mine. I had to prep a lot for Hisuian Lilligant is the scariest one, I would say, but there's also mons that he had, like Chinchino. And I knew that it was Pix, so I feel like anything could have been a sweeper, or disguised as a sweeper somehow. I think I was scared of getting swept by Ferrigarath as well, because after an agility, anything can happen. My team isn't really the bulkiest team. It's I'll talk about my team more later. But yeah, that's how I felt. I was actually quite nervous, and also because this is my first game coming back, and it takes some time for me to get used to my team. So yeah, I was pretty scared. I'm happy with the win.
Yeah, it was definitely a very close win. There were some hacks along the way. We'll talk more about the game in detail, but like you said, the threats on the fossils, which one did you fear the most as far as unpredictability?
In terms of unpredictability, I was scared of a couple of things. So I was scared of Zepstrika. I actually did prep up for a little bit for Zepstrika because A, it's fast, and B, it has good abilities. So I noticed that if I brought my own Lilligant, which has Chlorophyll as well, I could take advantage of the sun, and it has Quiver Dance, so it could outspeed the Hisuian Lilligant if I positioned it against Regirock, for instance, or if I positioned it against something like, let's say, Ferrigarath itself, or Walking Wake. Lilligant is able to get some Quiver Dances off. However, Zepstrika has Sap Sipper, and that is the one thing that stopped me from bringing Lilligant. So Zepstrika was a very underrated threat on his team. Chinchino had the potential to sweep, and that's why I consider bringing Tinkerton, because Tinkerton can just put on a Rocky helmet, and Tail Slap's not going to do anything. But I needed to. I only had 6 slots on my team. I couldn't fit Tinkerton, so I kind of prayed that he wouldn't bring Chinchino, and he didn't bring Chinchino. Hisuian Lilligant is the scariest one. It outspeeds my entire team, and you can see that the one check I brought to Hisuian Lilligant, Talonflame, was flinched by upper hand, so I couldn't really get a hit on it, so it wasn't really a check anymore. That had a huge potential to sweep me. I'm very, very lucky that it didn't sweep me. Gyarados was all again. Like I feel like I'm listing his entire team because his entire team's scary. Gyarados also had a lot of potential because it has a high special defense. I know that I have Scream Tail, and Scream Tail is able to Thunder Wave it, but if it was sub Dragon Dance Gyarados, that's what I was most afraid of. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything else. I feel like I had everything else covered. Walking Wake was covered by Scream Tail. Regirock, I didn't know what he was gonna do with it, so that's why I brought Regidrago, just so I could kill it as soon as possible. And the Urshifu, I think, was quite tame against my team because the Screamtail and Tinkerton, like, they synergize well.
Yeah, so you definitely went through most of his roster, like you said. He just knows ways to just make some Pokemon just work really well. So
yeah,
we'll go to actually talk about the game itself. So you opened up with Garchomp, who you know that some people in the server have certain feelings about. You decided to name it as Flygon. Any comment on why you chose to do that?
So, I don't know if you know this, but in private messages, Son Flygon, coach of the Australian Ampharos, DM'd me and said that Garchomp is actually one of his favorite Pokemon and that he would draft it, but the people in the server would basically disown him, and that's why he said, please name it after me. So that is why I named it after Sun Flygon, and also because also because I used to coach the Sun Flygon. I am his mentor, and that's why I decided to name it after him. I thought it was a fitting name.
I see. Well, I guess that's one way of honoring him. I guess everything else has been an act up until now, and I guess you've been the person that's shown how Flygon truly feels about Garchomp.
Exactly.
Wow. So going back to that first opening move, you're up against Mega Beedrill, who got knock off, get rid of the Rocky Helmet, which is common set, and you felt the first bit of Pix hacks from former Quill captain, and you had a crit happen to you. What was your thought when that happened?
I was very upset. I was very upset because Garchomp was more so meant to be a lead. So when I was looking at his team, I was like, I think Garchomp matches up well against everything. So my Garchomp was running only special moves, no physical moves, only special moves, and that was to lure the Regirock and also to lure Lilligant. So when I saw the team, I expected a Ninetales lead because then he could get Sun up and then he can switch out to something else, like, I don't know, Regirock. And that's why I led with Garchomp to get rocks up. I don't think his team had a way to clear hazards. And when the Beedrill clicked U-turn, I was calking. I knew it was Jolly, and I clicked Fire Blast because I thought that he would definitely go into Lilligant. That was a free switch into Lilligant, and then a crit. So that was very unfortunate, but it's picks, so it's not really hacks. It's more so it's picks. You know what I mean?
I got
had
exactly
it happen.
You got to experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
So later on, Regidrago came in and just torched members of his team. Tell us why you chose to pick Regidrago.
So for week 1, I looked at his roster immediately after I saw the pairings, and I noticed that he doesn't have a Steel type and he doesn't have a Fairy type, and if you go up against Regidrago without either of those two things, you're gonna have a very, very bad time. Because I noticed that I can just easily run Choice Scarf and click Dragon Energy every time I come in for free. So that's like of course the main incentive behind Regidrago. Regidrago also provided ways to revenge kill, for instance, Ferrograph if it got an agility up. It can also revenge kill the faster mons on his team, like Zepstrika, without a flame charge boost. It can revenge kill Lilligant outside of Sun. It can revenge kill a lot of things. I didn't need to invest a lot of speed into Regidrago, and it's actually very, very tanky as base 200 HP, so that's another reason why I chose it. But it was more so I could nuke his team a little bit, because his team is very, very offensive. He's not holding back on anything, and that's why I thought that Regidrago would give him a lot of problems. And yeah, all I had to do was position Regidrago against the slower mons like Regirock, so I could get a free hit off.
It worked out really well. Obviously, taking out Ninetales helps with the whole weather team situation, because as you said before, that Casino Lilligan can just outspeed your team easily, and it still has a walking wake in the background just setting. So Prancer was up, up finally. He's up against Gohs Kitten, Talonflame, for those who aren't aware of the match. So, in this matchup, it's very clear that there's no hazards being taken because of the flying. You have no rocks up against you, and one of the trademarks of Talonflame is that it has priority through Gale Wings, or instead of doing Flame Body, which is what other people might do, similar to how they do with Moltres. So, one of the new moves that obviously was showing up was Upper Hand. Did you expect that was going to happen, or did you not know about its existence?
I'll be honest. The day I battled Pix, I was laddering earlier, and I think I saw Upper Hand's Sword Stance combo on the ladder, and I was like, when I saw that, I was like, what's Upper Hand? I didn't know Upper Hand. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, that's a neat move. I didn't know about it. And then I think like 1 hour after that, I had my battle. I didn't know that the Lilligan got Upper Hand. I thought it would be, Victory Dance, because all he needed was one Victory Dance to win, which is why I brought Talonflame. I was like, oh, okay, I have good speed control then over the Lilligans. But I was taken aback. I was very, very, very taken aback, and I was also even more taken aback by how close combat killed it so easily. Yeah, I didn't know what to do there. I think the only option I had was to go into my bulky Screamtail and just pray that Solar Blade didn't kill me, and thankfully it didn't. The close combat drop definitely helped.
Oh yeah. I was thinking to myself when I saw what was left. It's just Screamtail is just so bulky, even if it doesn't have like the best offensive capabilities. Just the fact that it has all these defenses, like it's gonna be very hard for Pix to take it down as it is, unless it's got one Victory Dance up, which fortunately didn't. But just to educate people on those who don't know what Upper Hand is, it relies a lot on predictability, because you have to basically know that your opponent is readying a priority move, otherwise it will fail. So Pix was taking a little ahead when he made that choice of flinch Gohs Kitten.
How were my nicknames?
I liked them a lot. Kitten, Tinkaton's best BFF. I love that one a lot, actually. Obviously Do Not Terra. I get why people would nickname their Pokemon Do Not Terra, because if you're not used to being restricted on your Terra options, then it makes perfect sense. But maybe you already have nicknames planned for the other ones.
Yep. And I think Do Not Terra 2 is Tornadus, and then Flygon's one was. But by Flygon I mean Garchomp, because I feel like Garchomp is his favorite mon. Garchomp's nickname was just Sun Flygon. In brackets, don't Terra. I needed to put those in just because my roster is full of mons that I like to use in standard play, and I like to Terra them all the time. So I didn't want to get disqualified because I'm so used to Terraing them specifically.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Talk about Victory League. Looking ahead, there's 7 more weeks planned. Who do you look forward to fighting the most, or who do you fear the most out of your opponents left?
So the ones I am looking the most forward to is I would say I'm very excited to play against Gohs, just because he's always funny to play against. I get to torment him a little bit. I think he agreed to join voice call with me during the game, so that's something I'm looking forward to. I looked at his roster and I have a couple of ideas, some unconventional ideas. Also because his team is quite strong. I think they ranked high in the power rankings. He has good hazard control. He has good offense. A lot of the mons, for example, I can see the Great Tusk is going to be a little bit annoying to take down. And I also see Iron Crown, which is a mon that I've been playing around with on the ladder. So I know what it's capable of. So that's like something I'm looking forward to. In terms of fear, I would say it would be a tie between Electivire and Friends, so Aloe, because I know that Aloe is quite experienced in draft now at this point, and also because I know what he's capable of. He makes agency plays. That's another one, and is there anyone else? I mean, I think all my opponents are very scary, to be honest. If you look at Tusk's team, for instance, it has a superb defensive core. Some of the mons, I would say only two mons were sniped in Terrakion and Tentacruel, because I know how good they are. It, I'm kind of scared of Nuno, because Nuno is very, very unpredictable. It's like facing picks all over again. And also his mons are very, very offensive. The Blaziken in particular is extremely scary to me. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would say those are the scariest ones.
Yeah, I'm really curious how Nuno does with Iron Boulder, because it's one of the newer mons available, and it's got a lot of offense behind it. Interesting typing with a whole Rock Psychic, but so now let's talk about your team, Daizook, the Gohs gain. So,
Yeah.
I want to know what made you decide to go with this team layout. Like just start with the name itself, the mascot.
Okay, so my mascot is I would say that my mascot is I don't know if you know him, but his name is Gohs. He's in the server. I think I was talking to Trees, and then Trees was like, "I'll join the league if you join Dybro," and then I was like, "I'll join if you join," and then he joined, so I had to join. And I think Gohs was online at the time, and me and him were bantering. And then I was like, it'll be pretty funny if I were to name a team after Gohs. So I I knew that my team name would have Gohs in it. I just needed the next word, and I looked up good. I looked up funny names that start with G, and I saw Gains on Google. So I put them together and put the muscle emoji. And, and then when I was constructing the logo, so if you notice, my second mascot's Palafin, and I got inspiration from Flygon because Flygon was the only one who saw my logo, my initial draft of the logo, and he told me put down Hero to Zero with the Palafin, because he won the league and then got relegated the next season. So I thought that was hysterical. And then the rest of it was just things that defined Gohs. Like for instance, when he first joined the server, he would play nothing but Rain. Even in I remember in the BDSP semifinals, he showed up with Infernape plus Rain, because he couldn't deviate away from it. So I had to put Rain in it. He's come very far, but I'll never forget the Rain era. And then the Austria gifts that I always sent. What else is there? Oh yeah, that's right. And then I remember when Gohs was playing draft again. This was after a season of coaching him. He was like, "I'm gonna draft Corviknight, Knight, Blissey, and Wishy Washy like how I did last season." I was like, "No, don't do that," and he did anyways. So I had to put those three in. And then I think the rest is just Kyle's team. I put Kyle's team on because I feel like Kyle is the most important part of Spirit Pillar lore. And yeah, that's my justification behind the logo. I would say that for every win I get, I'm gonna keep putting screenshots of Gohs' profile, like his Discord profile and my logo, and then next season I'll show up with a cluttered logo. Hopefully. until it gets to a point where you can't even see the cat anymore.
Oh, so Gohs blame gains global. That's what
Yeah. Gohs gains global.
Okay. Alright, so that being said, with all the teams arranged and everything, let's talk about the power rankings. How do you feel about where you're ranked?
I'll be honest, I thought I would rank lower because there are a lot of teams. I feel like I'm definitely the weakest team in the league, statistically speaking, because I purposefully picked a pretty weak team. My theme going into this was UU, like as in draft everything that sings Scarlet and Violet UU, or we're in the UU tier for most of the generation. I think Palafin is the only outlier just because he's my mascot. I had to draft my mascot, so that's the only reason why I chose Palafin. The other picks were just mons that I remembered from the underused tier, where they form good offensive or defensive cores, and that's kind of how I picked it. I thought it would be 13th or something. 10th is very, very generous, I feel like. It might be because my team is a little bit speedy. But that's just because that tier is quite speedy in general, and that's why I think I ranked 10th. But we know that Flygon's power rankings are always first. So I expect to win the league now.
Okay. Yeah, one of the more interesting choices I've seen that you made for your team is that you chose to take Pikachu with your your sixth pick. Mind telling us what was the reason behind that?
So I picked Pikachu round 6 just because I thought it would be funny to pick in round 6. Like, why would you waste your round 6 pick on Pikachu? But it's also because I sniped Nuno, so I DM'd him and I was like, hey, I'm picking Pikachu next, LOL, and he's like, oh shit, that's in my draft plans. So I sniped Nuno. That's why I took it fast. I was like, oh okay, I need this joke to stay intact. Yeah, exactly. I sniped him pretty hard. And in terms of why I picked Pikachu, I feel like it has potential. So it has base 90 speed, and for context, that's I believe as fast as Jolly Lucario, and I think Lucario's speed tier is of course slightly below the base 100 speed tier, which is kind of where you want to aspire to be. But I think that it outspeeds a lot of passive mons. So for example, it outspeeds Rotomosh, it outspeeds Gyarados, it outspeeds. I think it speed ties with Revavroom. I forgot all the speed tiers. But a lot of my opponents have some slow mons, and I think it'll be pretty neat if I bring Pikachu. I was looking at the team, I was like, it'll be pretty neat if I bring Pikachu in and I try to get a lot of chip on their entire team with Volt Tackle, with Grass Knot, with Thunderbolt, Volt Switch. It can pivot as well. It has Surf, it has Fly, it has Iron Tail, it has everything. It can go with any hidden power it wants. Light Ball makes it the definition of a glass cannon. Will it be easy to use? Of course not. I don't think it's gonna be easy to use at all. But I think I can bring it as a bit of a wild card, because to be honest, the F tiers they're not supposed to be the best mons. They're not supposed to show up to every game. It's more so just it's more so a trump card that I have just in case. and I thought that picking a very offensive mon like Pikachu would be better than the F tier options. The other F tier option was of course Wigglytuff, because I've picked Wigglytuff for I think 2 drafts, and it was actually good in I would say it was good in both of them. I think it was very underrated, but I was using Wigglytuff too often, and I needed to deviate away from that, and that's why I chose Pikachu.
Alright, fair enough. So, my next question is, what are your thoughts on your DLC, very own Sunflygon, head coach of the Australian Ampharos in Premier League?
So in terms of my DLC, I think that the Victory League should make me the DLC. As you can see, he's been slacking a little bit because the newsletters are out for the other leagues besides Victory League, and that's only attributed to the fact that our DLC is Sunflygon. If you vote for Daizook, you can definitely get weekly newsletters out. You can get early power rankings. You can get everything with me at the wheel. And also he put a 2-game ban on Palafin, which really sucks because I said that Garchomp is better than Flygon. So that's why I didn't bring it against picks, and I'm not gonna bring it to my week 2 game as well. It's banned for 2 games, unfortunately. But I would say just make me the DLC because I'm the best. And if you, in terms of his team, I would say that he's you can tell that he's a copycat because he copied my team structure. So he saw that I was gonna pick Greninja, and then he said, "Okay, I'm gonna pick Greninja now." You can see that he picked Wigglytuff because I picked Wigglytuff. You can see that he picked Fluttermane because I tried to pick Fluttermane before I get sniped. So he's I think the Ampharos are inspired by the Gains team. So that's, of course, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But for him, he's just a copycat, and but yeah, I would say he's a cat simply because everything is a cat, and I think he's a copycat. I did watch his first game. It was brutal. It was very brutal. I think he prepped well. The Servine was very. I still think it was a good bring. But I think he can bounce back because he's a kid. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think he'll win the next game. He has a good matchup, I would say. And I don't know his week 3 opponent. I know his week 2 though. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. No, but he's I hate to say it, he's a good player. just make me the DLC. I think the Ampharos are gonna bribe the referees, and as a result, they're one of the favorites to win the Premier League because of how much they bribe the refs.
Interesting. All right. Well, Daizook, this is my my last question. Anything you want to say to your fans before we close out the interview?
Please keep supporting Gohs Gains. We're looking forward to seeing you at the stadium. If one of my future opponents refuses to go on voice call with me, make sure you boo them throughout the game. Try to pressure them into joining voice call. Try to give them a hard time as well. So, like, maybe do some trash talking in the chat. Call them a hacker. Say that, like, if they crit me even once, tell them to go buy a lottery ticket. Do whatever you can. Make sure you're behind my team. Because my team's weak. I need the home advantage. I need everyone on voice call. But yeah, and also I think my biggest supporter is Gohs. He's the one who helped me pick the team name. He was the inspiration behind my team name. So I think I'll win the league for Gohs, and then next season, if I'm in the Premier League, I'll rename and I'll rebrand to Gohs Games Global. So looking forward to seeing you this season and hopefully next season.
Alright, thank you, Coach Daizook. And thanks everyone for joining us for today's interview. And we look forward to seeing what the Gohs games can do this season and Draftarig.
Thank you so much for having me.